Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure today at this ceremony to honour, in accordance with a resolution of the University's Governing Council, Mr. Matt Barrie, for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa of Macquarie University. I now invite Professor Saki Pretorius, our Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Research, to please read the citation. Professor Pretorius.
I invite Mr. Matt Barrie to stand up for the citation. Mr. Robert Matthew Barrie, Matt, is an award-winning entrepreneur businessman, a thought leader, and an influencer with extensive knowledge of global technology and finance businesses. He is a founder and CEO of Freelancer.com, the world's largest freelancing marketplace, connecting more than 30 million professionals globally. Freelancer.com is a 12-time winner of the International Academy of Digital Arts and Sciences Webby Awards, the Internet's most prestigious honor. Matt is the Chief Executive also of Escrow.com, a world leader in secure online payments, and Executive Chairman of Freelancer, a global enterprise of freight marketplace. Matt has completed a number of degrees in engineering and business, a dual degree. He also completed a Master of Applied Finance at Macquarie University and achieved first-class honours in both electrical engineering and science from the University of Sydney. He holds a Master of Science in Electrical Engineering from Stanford University, is a graduate of the Australian Institute of Company Directors, and is a Fellow of Engineers Australia. Matt was Adjunct Associate Professor in Electrical and Information Engineering at the University of Sydney, where he taught cryptography for 15 years and later technology, venture creation. He is the co-author of more than 20 US patent applications. In 2006, he was awarded the New South Wales Persia Entrepreneur Award to the contribution to the IT and T industry. In 2010, he was honored as also alumnus of the year in the Faculty of Engineering and IT at University of Sydney. In 2011, he was awarded inaugural BRW Entrepreneur of the Year and was as well as the EY Technology Entrepreneur of the Year. He was named in the top 100 influential engineers by Engineers Australia in 2012, won the 2013 News Limited Young TED Entrepreneur of the Year Award, and placed in the 2013 top 10 Australasian entrepreneurs to watch by Smart Company. Matt has won 7 Stevie Awards, including the coveted Gold Stevies in the Executive of the Year category at the International Business Awards between 2013 and 2020. In 2015, Matt received an Alumni Award from Macquarie University for his achievements in innovation and enterprise. With outstanding reputation in the fields of entrepreneurship, economics, business, and technology, Matt is a sought-after and public speaker and global thought leader who has been featured in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, TechCrunch, BRW, The Economist, and on Bloomberg TV. The award of this degree of Doctor of Letters is a fitting institute to the contribution that Matt Barrie has made as an entrepreneur, an innovator, a business leader, and a member of Macquarie University. Vice-Chancellor, I am pleased to present Mr. Robert Matthew Barrie for the admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
Mr. Robert Matthew Barrie, in the name of the University Council and by my authority delegated from the Governing Council, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Barrie. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Dr. Barrie to deliver the occasional address.
It's an honour to talk to you here today. It's a day of graduation and a day full of emotions. It's a day of excitement and it's a day of relief, a day of fulfilment for what you've accomplished. But it's also a day of anticipation and anxiety for what the future might hold. Many of you probably don't know what you want to do in life. Many of you probably don't have confidence in your skills. Many of you probably doubt your ability to make it in the world, and many of you probably worry that you don't really know what you're doing. And I wouldn't blame you. You just spent 15 or 16 years going through an educational system designed for a world that no longer exists. Well, let me tell you a little secret, and you guys are graduating into a crazy world where nobody really knows what they're doing. And as you go forth in life, you'll slowly realise that all these people around you in very important positions that pretend like they have it all under control, but they don't. Most people are just winging it, and the more important the position they're in, the more likely they're to do so. Most high-powered jobs don't have any formal training, and most CEOs don't go to business school, they just figure it out on the job. And the Prime Minister didn't go to Prime Minister school, although ScoMo probably wishes there was one at this point. And, you know, who are the smartest guys in the world and who makes arguably the most important decisions? Well, arguably it's the guys at the US Federal Reserve who decide the federal funds interest rate 8 times a year. And as many of you are graduating today from accounting and applied finance and management, you would know that this number determines how much the bank pays you interest, the amount of credit in the system, the cost of your home loan, the interest rate in your credit card, how much it costs a company to borrow to build a factory, the value of every currency share, good, product or service. And how do they figure that number out? Well, 12 people play pin the tail on the donkey. They literally draw dots on a piece of paper for whatever they think the funds rate should be, emerge from a cave holding that piece of paper, hold it up to the world, and every financial lever changes. Do you think these guys know what they're doing? No. These masters of the universe at the US Federal Reserve also have a second job, which is to, quote, to foster the stability, integrity, efficiency of the nation's monetary and financial and payment systems. So good are these guys at this, that since the US Federal Reserve started in 1913, the US dollar has lost 97% of its value. These guys are on one wing and a prayer. So don't worry if you're not confident in your abilities. The older you get, the more you'll realise that everyone is winging it, and they're all stuffing things up, whether it's ScoMo or Biden or Boris Johnson or Janet Yellen or Jay Powell, you name it, all terrified that someone will find out they're an imposter. But that's okay, because I'll tell you another secret. Everyone has imposter syndrome. If you feel like an imposter, by definition, you must be having some degree of success in whatever situation you're in. Otherwise, why would you feel like you don't belong there? Likewise, don't worry if you don't know what you want to do when you grow up. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. While you might not know what you want to do, I'm pretty certain you know what you don't want to do. So make a list, write down all the things that you don't want to do, and this will help you make decisions about where you want to go. Whatever you do, make sure you put your best effort at it. To get anywhere in life, you have to do the hard work. A stone can only skim the water for so long before it sinks. Put the effort in and build your foundations. You may be graduating, but your real education begins today. Be an intellectual sponge. Have a curiosity about the world. As knowledge is power and education is the lubricant of upwards mobility, hard work pays off. Today, as a graduate, you are the most employable person in the world. If you have aspirations to start a company, don't rush things. Your next few years will be the most valuable learning years of your professional career. Join a company with an inspiring leader. Learn from the inside how great companies work, how they grow. From that great leader, learn how to communicate, be an orator, learn how to lead. Leadership is the capability to translate vision into reality. You only need a few true believers to start a movement. In this world, if you walk like a duck and you talk like a duck, you are a duck. So be a duck, but be an honest duck. Be careful to not believe your own propaganda. Take risks, but try to do so when the dice are loaded in your favour. You load the dice by being lucky, and luck is the intersection of preparation, hard work, and opportunity, all of which come from surrounding yourself with great people. There's a time to sow and a time to reap. Miss either of these times and you are stuffed. Right now is your time to sow, time to be prepared, to load the dice. Then as opportunities slowly present themselves to you, seize them. You will miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you work twice as hard, you can figure it out on the fly with one wing and a prayer like everyone else. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't work, but you took the shot. You'll fail at things, and that's okay. Everybody falls over. It's all how fast you get back up again. You will make bad decisions, that's okay. And life, my friend, is a series of bad decisions, although I prefer to call that today A/B testing. Good decisions come through experience, and experience, well, my friends, comes through making plenty of bad decisions. You'll make plenty of them. I've made plenty of them. Anyone can hold the rudder when the sea is calm, but when the sea gets rough, that's when the tough get going. Learn from your bad decisions, but make decisions. Nobody is going to hand you a life on a platter. You have to go out there and seize it, and you have to go out there and make decisions. Now, not every decision needs to be right. You can still win big in the long term by making more bad decisions than good. As long as the upside is larger on your good decisions and the downside smaller on the bad. Betting big when you're confident in winning and small when you're not. But if you make no decision, you're likely to lose no matter the outcome. The path to greatness is truly a struggle. Every day there's a reason to stop, a reason to quit. You'll be told why you can't do by people who have never done. You'll be given financial advice by people who have never saved. You'll be told why your idea won't work from people who would screw up running a lemonade stand. You'll be told to get a real job by people who lie awake at night agonising on whether the economic value they contribute to society is greater or less than the amount of petrol they consume on the way to work in the morning. And you'll be given plenty of bad advice. Just when that happens, just think about average intelligence for a second and then realise that half the world is dumber than that. Instead, have confidence in yourself. Do the hard work. Build your belief system. The one word I've been told to describe me is relentless. To get anywhere in life, you too need to be relentless. You just need to go out there and do it. And sometimes you just need to put the blinkers on. Know that your mission is to go from A to B, despite what everyone is telling you. Ignore the naysayers, ignore the rejection, have confidence in yourself and your mission. Confidence you'll gain through knowledge and experience and preparation, all of which will make you lucky. And in today's world, you'll be constantly bombarded with information. Most of it is biased, bullshit, or bad. Most media today is either a content farm churning out impressions or a billionaire's blog. When you wake up in the morning and read the headlines, they're all lying to you. The fact checkers all need to be fact checked. They're all set to manipulate the message, and the government will rarely ever tell you the truth. The medieval church has had less control over people's emotions than Facebook and Google now with a tweak of an algorithm. Social media is a dumpster fire, overflowing with new authorities in Russian military hardware that only last month left their jobs in infectious diseases. Most people are afraid of telling the truth for fear of being fired or cancelled. Just remember the Pareto principle, 80% of the noise is made by 20% of the actors. Assume they're all lying and make it out upon each actor to prove that they're not. Parse the facts from the commentary and ask yourself, why are they presenting these facts to you this way, for what purpose, and why now? Build your own belief system based upon your own principles, then make up your own mind and make your own decisions. Most people in life make excuses for not making decisions. It's always to make an excuse rather than make a decision. It's easy to sit on your bum and do nothing. But you need to forge your own destiny, and to do that, you need to make decisions. And when you make a decision, you need to take action. Too many people make excuses for not taking action. If you've made a decision, there should be no question of taking action needed to fulfill the decision. Too many people let themselves down by finding excuses not to take action. If you're finding excuses, then you haven't made a decision. You're finding excuses to not make a decision. Make decisions, then act. As a jet fighter pilot once said, famously, hope is not a strategy. Sitting around thinking about how things could be better is not going to change anything. You have to act. Don't sit on the fence, have an opinion, pick a side. If you pick the winning side, you will also be a winner. If you pick the losing side, the loser will be forever indebted to you. If you sit on the fence, you've let everyone down and nobody will appreciate you. If you want to get anywhere in life, you're going to piss a few people off, because if you're going to make an omelette, you need to break a few eggs. People simply have different motivations and interests, and often are diametrically opposed. You simply can't get anywhere pleasing everyone. The logical conclusion to that is ending up pleasing no one. Sometimes you just need to say to yourself, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make a difference. Sometimes you can find a way for interests to align, and sometimes you do need to compromise and learn how to negotiate. Negotiation is about being prepared. Preparation makes you lucky in a negotiation. Before you walk into a negotiation, know where you stand on things. Make 3 lists. The first list is your line, something on that list, and you don't get it, you're going to walk away no matter what. Knowing that in advance will save you a lot of pain than trying to figure it out on the fly. Your second list are things that are important to you, but you're willing to trade these things for other things that are equally important. Your third list are things that are not so important, but again, don't give them away, trade them. Sometimes there's win-win, but more often than not, if everyone walks away unhappy, then you've probably found the best outcome. Whatever the outcome, you live the choices you make and move on. You can't change the past, but you can change your future. Where there's a will, there's a way, and you can accomplish anything within the realm of human endeavour if you're willing to put your willpower to it and do the hard work. Ask yourself, if not you, then who will do it? All great accomplishments are achieved by mere mortals, maybe the person to the left of you or the person to the right of you. It may as well be you. On the path to great things, you'll get a lot of criticism. People who sit on their bums and don't do anything in life have a lot to be criticised about those that are doing things, so be stoic. Sometimes you will fail, and sometimes you will fail so badly you will fall into the abyss. And I have fallen into the abyss. When I started my first company, Sensory Networks, I did everything wrong. Like many founders, I picked a fad, and that's the only thing I wanted to work on. I wanted to build an integrated circuit, a chip, and I wanted to work in information security, so I built an information security chip company. We built some of the most advanced technology of its time, a chip that scans network traffic for security threats at gigabit speeds. We got it to 180 gigabits per second at a time there was no gigabit internet. It was a solution looking for a problem. We raised a ton of money from venture capitalists instead of raising it from customers by selling them something useful. For 6 years, I tried to make it work, but the market for our product didn't exist. The venture capitalists fought with each other, and if not, with the founders. The product's business model was all wrong. To sell a chip, we needed a card. To sell a card, we needed drivers. To sell drivers, we needed applications, and so on and so forth. If I'd just given up the desire to work on a fad and make a chip, we could have made it work. Our competitor put open source software in a box, the cheapest box they could find, and made $2 billion. But no, we were wedded to a chip, and thus we had a solution looking for a problem. Everything we did was wrong. After 6 years of desperately trying to make it work, believing my own propaganda coming out of my self-generated reality distortion field, I realized it wasn't going to work. And when I left that company, it was what I call a dark moment in an entrepreneur's journey. I had thrown everything to make it work. I'd hired every smart person I knew, everything I'd put into that company, my psyche, my essence. It hadn't worked. I had no juice left in the tank. I was mentally, physically, emotionally drained, and every ounce of willpower was gone. But sometimes your worst failure, your darkest moment, you may not realize it at the time, but sometimes your darkest moment turns out to be the best thing that ever happened to you. For if I had never left Sensory, I would never have started Freelancer. And the lesson here is don't start a company which is a solution looking for a problem. Find a solution to a great problem that already exists. Sometimes the solution to a great problem comes out of necessity, and my necessity at this point was I was fundamentally unemployable. Who would hire a broken startup founder from a failed company? I couldn't go work for anyone else. I had nothing left at the tank. So I had to eventually start another company, but how could I do that? How could I ever start a company again? All these great people I knew I'd hired, and I'd already let them down. I was too embarrassed to approach anyone. For 2 years, every single business meeting I went into started with what happened at Sensory. Can you imagine how soul-destroying it was to explain failure constantly? And I said to myself, this has to end. I have to do something. I can't just sit around on my bum. Everyone falls over. It's how fast you get back up again. I have to start working on something. So I enrolled here at Macquarie University in a Master's of Applied Finance to stimulate my brain, and at the same time, I went to help my mum build a website for a wholesale art and craft business. Now, I've been telling her to do this since 1995, and maybe if she listened to me when I was an undergraduate in computer science, she'd be running Amazon. But it comes along 2007, and still no website 12 years later, and I started to work on it just for something to do. Only to realise she had 10,000 products with no photos or descriptions, and no wonder there was no website because it was a mess. So I needed some help with data entry, and for months I was trying to get little brothers or sisters of friends to help out with filling out a spreadsheet. Fill out a spreadsheet, I'll pay you $2 a row, 1,000 rows, I'll give you $2,000. Now, I would have loved this job as a kid, stay at home, work on a computer in my own time, making thousands of dollars, but the kids of today told me it was boring. I said, I know it's boring. That's why you're doing it. That's why I'm paying you. Otherwise, I'll do it. But after 4 months of no success and desperation, I finally went to the internet. I typed in cheap data entry into Google or something like that, and I found this website called Get a Freelancer. It was ugly as hell. It looked like Craigslist or Grays, but it was teaming activity. I posted my job. I went to lunch, completely forgot about it, came back 3 hours later, and I had 74 people emailing me. I'll do it for 2,000, 1,000, 200, 100. First, I was in disbelief. There's no way that 74 people wanted my job. I couldn't find anyone to do it in 4 months. Secondly, why are people bidding $100 when I put down the budget as 2,000? Then I realized 5 billion people on the planet lived on $10 a day, and my job would only take a day or two at best. I thought, this is incredible. They say, don't start a company that sells vitamins. You want to sell painkillers. We'd all love to take vitamins every day, but we always forget. But if you have pain, you want a painkiller, and you want it now. You'll pay anything for a painkiller. Better than that, sell a narcotic. Make the first taste free. Get your customers hooked. Make it painful for them to stop using. Make them wonder how they ever got by before your company came along. And I was hooked on Get a Freelancer. The website was a narcotic. I could sit at home in my underpants and hire an army off the back of a credit card. I could build a company without having to do the embarrassment of approaching anyone to convince them to come work for me. Necessity truly is the mother of invention, and it was a solution to my biggest problem, and a solution to a great problem for entrepreneurs and business owners all around the world. Now, what company should I build if I could raise the biggest army in the world has ever seen? Well, I really liked this company that I'd found, Get a Freelancer, so I immediately set out to clone it. And I built my own website, bititout.com. Now, I could program but not design, so I hired freelancers from Get a Freelancer to copy Get a Freelancer. Little did I know that the guy who started Get a Freelancer had cloned it by freelancers off Scriptlance to copy Scriptlance. I built it for a few weeks and started doing my own market research, and there were a dozen companies in the space, but nobody had set the world on fire. And I thought, no one's going to finance me to be number 13. I didn't have the time in me to spend another 4, 5, 6 years trying to go from nothing to break even, from no revenue, and I had to figure out how to buy rather than build. So I contacted these websites that didn't have any institutional backing, and I asked if they'd like to sell to me. And I didn't have any money, but I told them I'd lock in a price and give me 45 days, and I'd find the money somehow, and I'd either pay what they wanted or help them sell to the next guy for twice the price. And the website that was best was Get a Freelancer, ironically, because it had the most traffic, and that's how I found it, because it had the best SEO, and that's how I found it, by typing in cheap data entry into Google. And it was doing about $1 million in revenue, it was slightly profitable, had 500,000 freelancers, and the guy who'd started it had run it for 3 or 4 years, and if I could figure out a way to buy it from him, it would save me the time, the risk, and gave me a head start back into the game. I'll paraphrase the rest, but eventually I got the money together. It didn't take 45 days, it took about 18 months, and it was a roller coaster, and it was a founding team of 1 because it's sensory. I was too embarrassed to even find a co-founder. All great companies start by a weird-looking team. Just look at an early photo of Microsoft or PayPal or Google, and I found my founding photo was a picture of myself looking disheveled and broken out the back with 2 cats. I'll tell people about business. Did you know you get someone in Bangladesh to build you a website for $50? Where's Bangladesh? Do they have computers? Won't you spend more time fixing it up with whatever's made? When are you going to get a real job? This website looks like crap. You can't stuff up again, Matt. Every day I had to get out of bed and say, I'm going to make this work. Let me tell you, it was hard. I had to put the blinkers on. I had to be relentless. I needed to get from A to B, and A to B was raising money to buy this business. Everyone else can get stuffed. I'll make it happen. I was rejected countless times. I tried everywhere to find the money, and despite what they say about venture capitalists who are always investing in failures, it's horseshit. No VC would touch me because the last company at that point was considered a failure. I even tried the Commonwealth Bank business loan hotline, and they told me to go start a newsagent or a shoe store, something with premises and an inventory that could hold security over. Now, as much as I tried, I didn't get out of bed every day and didn't have the fire in my belly every day. It was hard being a founding team of 1. There was no one to get pissed off at me if I didn't come to work or get out of bed. It was just me. And at one point, the guy selling Get a Freelancer stopped talking to me for 6 months, and I thought it was all over. I just got lucky one day that I thought maybe I should just give it one more shot, and I was just lucky enough that I got a reply, and lucky enough to eventually raise the money, and lucky enough to end up buying the business, and luck being the intersection of preparation, hard work, and opportunity. So there I was, necessity being the mother of invention, and all big ideas start off looking like crap. And let me tell you, the website sucked. It was literally black and grey and white, and I used to joke it was designed with the leftover paint from the USS Midway. But I was giddy. I thought the website solves all my problems. It must solve problems for others. This is like eBay, but for jobs. And the more I thought about it, the more I realised some of the biggest companies in the world by market capitalization are global marketplaces of products: Amazon, Alibaba, eBay, Etsy, and so forth. Surely a global marketplace for services is a great big secret that people have overlooked. And why hasn't eBay done it? Now, some of the best ideas are great secrets of the world, and I'd stumbled across a great secret. It was not a solution looking for a problem, it was a solution to a great problem. 5 billion people needed a better job, and the other 3 billion people needed help with their business, but they often didn't have much of a budget and they needed the help now. I was discombobulated thinking about the size of opportunity. I felt embarrassed talking about how big the business could be. The numbers were too large. All I knew that was doing $1 million in revenue, everything sucked. The customers constantly complained and it looked like crap. If I fixed those things, I just knew I could get it to $2 million in revenue. So I focused on that, going from A to B. I got it to 2, I knew I could get it to 5. I got it to 5, I knew I could get it to 10. I got it to 10, I knew I could get it to 20, and so on. And Get a Freelancer became the cornerstone acquisition for Freelancer.com, and we're doing over $1 billion now through the bank accounts. We've taken it to 58 million customers, a little bit more than 30. And our mission is to provide 1 billion people with a job, at least a small job for a time. We've given 20 million jobs to people around the world, so we do have some runs on the board, but we have a long way to go. And buying a business worked out so well for me, I've bought about 27 more, mostly competitors. We've now merged this all to run 3 companies in the broad fields of labour, payments and freight, and all foundation services that businesses need. We're building the next Amazon, but for services. But let me tell you, the path is not been easy. The path to changing the world is not a straight line. Every day something is burning, and if I come to work and I'm not smelling smoke, I'm not sniffing hard enough. As you get larger, it's all about the people. You can't do it alone. Hire the best people can afford. And in building Freelancer, I discovered a word which aptly describes my journey. It's a German word, Schlimmbesserung. It means to make things worse through an effort to improve, although I prefer to still call it A/B testing. There's a long way to go still. I'm only 2% into completing my mission, but I'll tell you one final thing. It has never been easier to have a lofty mission. It has never been easier to change the world. Imagine trying to start Freelancer 25, 30 years ago. It couldn't be done. The internet has hyper-connected people in a way the world has never been before. You can now reach 5 billion people instantly, soon everyone on the planet. The software tools and platforms you need are all free or inexpensive. So it's never been faster and easier to distribute a product or a service. It's never been faster and easier to start a company. It's never been faster or easier to create products or services of the future. And it's never been faster and easier to spread an idea, build a following, or start a movement. Change the world in some way. And it's never been easier to find people to help you do it, because you can find them on a Freelancer. So congratulations on graduating today. Your entire life's journey has brought you to this point, but now the real action begins. Go forth and make your mark. Take your time. It won't be a straight line, but have faith in yourself, do the hard work, and you too may be lucky. Thank you.
Well, graduands, there you have it. Fast-paced, action-packed recount of life, filled with such a journey and inspiration to you all. I particularly liked Dr. Barrie's commentary around curiosity. For me, curiosity is the real bedrock of so many successful careers and successful lives, and that notion of being relentless. You've got a dream, you want to pursue it, and go after it, and don't give up. Let's give Dr. Barrie another great round of applause.